Okay, we're going to do a little bit of history. I normally start off this lesson asking students to give me dates that might be important if we were going to look at 1,000 years of United States history. And these are the kinds of dates that typically get thrown out, although 1004 is the least likely one. And I can draw this up in a timeline where maybe the color of the timeline changes in 1776 because we became a nation there, and the line divides from 1861 to 1865 because we were actually two different nations at that point. But this gives us a way to visualize U.S. history. 1004, by the way, this is a very Eurocentric view of U.S. history. That's when Leif Erikson could have discovered the United States or discovered the New World, except for the fact that there were millions of people who had discovered it millennia before. So I'm going to ask you to write down these empires in this order, and we're going to take some notes on them. I had a friend who tried to come up with a mnemonic for this, and what they came up with is every American boy peas green rice. I will not ask you to memorize these in order, but leave a couple of lines between each of these names so you can take some notes. So the history of ancient Israel, if we were to look at key dates in their history for the 1,000 years that the temple was in existence, we might start about 900 years before Jesus and end about 70 years after his birth. And it's the story of empires. Sorry about the yellow stuff on the bottom, I'll fix that later. But it's the story of the different empires of the ancient Middle East and how they interacted with the ancient Israelites. The story of Moses, if we were to try to place it historically, might be 13 or 14 or 1500 BCE. And for our intents and purposes, I'll talk about Egypt a little bit more later. Solomon builds the temple in 968 BCE. There's actually a Home Depot receipt from that date that tells us that that's when Solomon built it. And Solomon is the last king of the United Monarchy. It goes Saul, then David, and then Solomon. And then after Solomon's death, the kingdom splits in 931 BCE. I will not quiz you on any of these dates. We become two nations at this point. Israel, the northern 10 tribes in the north with their capital in Samaria, and Judah, the two tribes of the south with their capital in Jerusalem. And the first empire to enter onto the scene is the Assyrian Empire. And you can think about an empire as a lunchroom bully, and his job is to go around and beat up people in the cafeteria and take their lunch money. And there are different ways